As an attorney, I've seen this mistake over and over and over again, and it's something that you cannot go back and fix down the road. So if you're getting ready to go to mediation with a narcissist, this is the one clause that is going to save you later, save money, headache, time. You've got to watch this video. Hey, I'm Rebecca Zung. I have participated in literally thousands of mediations and many with narcissists. And I've also seen the other side of this where people come back after they've already signed an agreement and now they're trying to fix things and mitigate the issues. And it's so hard to do. So if you are getting ready to go to mediation or even a conflict resolution conversation with a narcissist, this is a must watch, and you've got to watch all the way to the end because it's really important. All right. And if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We upload brand new videos every single day on how to save yourself and protect yourself against a narcissist and actually get the results that you want. What happens when you go to mediation? You will get there. You will meet the mediator. The mediator will give you an opening spiel about who they are and why today is your day of opportunity and why you do want to try to settle your case yourselves, because then you have much more control over the outcome. Then there's no appeals process. You sign it. It's a contract. Everybody's locked in. So it's a great way to get everything settled. It also saves you a ton of money and headache, time. Going to trial takes a lot of money, and it also takes a lot of time and a lot of your life, and emotionally it can be very draining. It is a great way to get everything resolved if you can. Here's the thing. If you are dealing with a narcissist, you do not want to be in the same room or on the same Zoom. Ask right away to be caucused, meaning you want to be in separate spaces, whether it's separately on the Zoom call or separately in the lawyer's offices or the mediator's offices or wherever it is that you are. You don't want to be in the same room, because whatever you say, whatever you do is going to inflame the narcissist. And if you even express what it is that you want, they're not going to do it just because that's what you want. You want to have some strategy around this, and then let the mediator kind of cleanse things, present messages in a certain way. So maybe it doesn't sound like it's coming from you necessarily. Maybe it sounds like, this is the best thing for you, kind of a thing. So you want the mediator to do their job as a mediator. And that's why it's really important to have a strong mediator if you are dealing with a narcissist. You can't have one that, I've seen these mediators where they're like, well, if that's what you want to do, okay, well, if you don't, that's fine too. You can't have a mediator like that. You've got to have one who's basically going to advocate for the process, meaning if you go to court, this is how much it's going to cost. These are going to be your risks, that sort of thing. And they kind of beat on each side a little bit so that you come together into some sort of resolution. Just remember that when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's not a normal mediation. It's a chess match, because a narcissist is trying to figure out how they can outmaneuver, continue to get supply. They don't necessarily want a resolution. They want to continue to haunt you and make your life miserable for as long as possible. So there are certain clauses that you're going to want to have in your agreement to make sure that you are protecting yourself. Narcissists are going to say whatever they need to say to look cooperative. They're going to be smiling and nodding and, yes, I want to settle this, and oh my God, I can't believe they've done this to me. They're going to play the victim. They don't want to look like the unreasonable one. They want you to look like the unreasonable one. It's really important to kind of play your cards right with this and just act like, okay, this is what I'd like, but it's okay if I don't get it. kind of a thing, but kind of backdoor your way into getting the things that you want. Here's the piece that is absolutely important for you. It's the enforceability piece. It's going to be the what happens if they don't comply piece. It's how can you help a judge help you down the road when they don't comply? Not if, it's a when, because they won't. But the most important thing for you is not if they're going to comply or not. It's how are you going to enforce it when they don't? And so what you want is specificity in the agreement, number one, and then helping the judge with what happens if they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So the specificity has to be measurable, time bound. How is it going to be documented? How is it going to be enforced? So you want specifics such as if there are expenses that one or both parties are going to incur. Let's say it's for a home. Let's say it's for kids. You want to have something in there like this. The party who incurs the expense has 30 days to provide the other party the receipts, and then the other party has 30 days to pay. Because now it's measurable. Now it's time bound. Now it's documented. Now it's the judge can go, what day did you go to the doctors? You take the child to the doctor on June 10th. Okay, did you provide the receipts by July 10th? Yes, I did. I provided it on July 4th. Okay, great. Now you had 30 days from July 4th to provide it. Did you pay by August 4th? So now it's specific. Okay, now the judge has some teeth. Now you're giving the judge something that they can go, okay, I can enforce this. But if you've got something in there like, we'll split the costs, we'll co-parent respectfully, that is really just ends up being aspirational language and not language that can actually be enforced. It's what I call marshmallow language. It just dissolves on contact. There's nothing that the judge can do about that. And then what happens a lot of times is people will compile expenses and then they'll pass them on over and say, well, here's what happened in the last 3 years. You owe me $35,000. And people aren't going to go for that. They're going to be really unhappy about that. You want to have it so that the judge can enforce it, a guardian ad litem can enforce it, a parenting coordinator, the mediator down the road. You don't want ambiguity because a narcissist's weapon is ambiguity. And your weapon back is specificity. Here's the other thing. You want to have default language of some sort in there. Meaning, if one party defaults on any of the provisions in this agreement, then that party, the defaulting party, pays both sides fees, right? You want to have something like that where there's a fees clause, because then whoever defaulted is going to be on the hook for the fees brought against them to enforce that agreement. You don't want prevailing party language, if possible, because prevailing party means you've got to wait to see who prevails. And when do they prevail? After, 16 appeals and every other thing they've tried to do, it gets really, really murky. And then you're on the hook, on the hook, on the hook the whole time because it's not prevailing yet. So you just want default language. Did you provide the receipts when you were supposed to? No, I didn't. Okay, great. You're assessed the fees for this. And, many states have a need versus ability to pay measurement for how fees are assessed. If you contractually agree to default language instead, it takes it out of the need versus ability to pay argument. So even if one party's making $1 million a year and the other party makes $10,000 a year, if the party who makes $10,000 a year defaults on that, they're paying both sides fees, period, end of story. So you want these provisions in there because they literally become life-saving when that narcissist starts misbehaving. They thrive in vague language. They exploit gray areas. They manipulate loopholes. They twist anything that isn't nailed down in writing. And even if it is in writing, they still try to play games, but it's harder for them to play the game because their favorite tactic is what? It is plausible deniability. They can no longer say, oh, I didn't understand that. I thought you meant, I thought we agreed. I must have misread. All of these things is just this plausible deniability that they'll come up with, right? But no, if it's in writing, if it's clear, it's timed, it's documented, and there's an enforceability clause, now judges can get to work and do what they need to do. Judges love clarity. It makes their job easier. They hate drama. They want to be able to enforce these agreements. So these types of clauses could create a concrete path for consequences when that narcissist inevitably violates that agreement, and they will violate it. That's not a question. The question is, will you have the tools to hold them accountable? These types of clauses, specificity, enforcement, default, they give you the tools. How do you introduce this at mediation? You don't say, I need this because you're a liar. I need this because I know you're going to misbehave. You're not going to follow the rules because you are a manipulator. You want to say something neutral, like, I think it's best for everyone to avoid future misunderstandings. This protects both of us. This ensures that we won't have to come back and relitigate things down the road. Clarity will help us be better parents, which I know you want. You use that NLP, that neuro-linguistic programming language. I know we both want what's best for the children. Remember, you're not speaking to the narcissist. You're speaking to the mediator, to the future judge who might read this agreement. Now the language is making you look like reasonable, calm, solution-based, fair. And meanwhile, the clause is doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Remember, the second half of this, by the way, after this is signed, is going to be document, 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 all right? Because when they violate it, and they will, you will need screenshots, missed deadlines, failure to respond, refusal to comply, late reimbursements, ignored appointments, written reminders, timestamps. Why? Because judges don't respond to emotion. They respond to patterns, and patterns plus performance equals airtight in enforcement. This is how you win without fighting. This is how you get consequences without chaos. This is how you protect your peace and your legal outcome. Mediation with a narcissist isn't going to feel fair. It's not going to feel balanced. That's why it's important for you to have all the exits sealed off before you get to mediation. And you don't try to go back and forth with letters of proposal, settlement proposals, all that, because then your exits aren't sealed off. They're going to use that as an opportunity to manipulate. So you want to be in a situation where they have to agree to certain things. They're not able to continue to weaponize manipulation. So you can still win. And I want you to write that in the comments right now. I can still win. I can still win. I want you to write that because I want you to start embedding that in your brain, because you can do this not by arguing right back at them, not by over explaining, getting them to see reason, because they're not going to do that. You win with structure, with clarity, with super airtight language, with strategic boundaries baked directly into the legal agreement. The clause is your shield. Your leverage is having this safety plan. So use it. Make sure you get my free Doc the Narc cheat sheet, which will help you get started with documentation. Go to docthenarc.com and use the tools that I'm giving you to help you start documenting everything you need to document. If you like this video, make sure you like it and share it. You know, one of my favorite holiday traditions is baking cookies with my daughter. We've done it every year since she was little. And now, even though we're miles apart, I can see those memories come to life again right here on my Aura frame. What if you could give a gift that brings your holidays to life all the time, every single day? And with an Aura frame, you can. I absolutely love how easy it is. You can preload the photos before you ship it as a gift, and then you can actually remotely continue to add to it. It includes photos and videos all for free, and it comes packaged in a beautiful gift box, no price tag. Can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it with Aura Frame. And for a limited time, you can visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling cover matte frame, named #1 by Wirecutter, using the promo code Rebecca at checkout. That's auraframes.com. Promo code Rebecca. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so order now before it ends, and make sure you mention the show when you go to checkout. Terms and conditions apply. And the next video that I want you to watch is 5 things that piss off family court judges. Don't ruin your case. So make sure you watch that video next, because once you structure your agreement correctly, you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in court in a way that the judge is going to see you. All right. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, I invite you to do that now. Subscribe, hit that bell, and then I will see you in that next video.